developments coming from inside the Russian Federation. For decades, separatism in Russia was either whispered in exile or crushed by force. But now, that silence is breaking. Across the country, suppressed voices are turning into open defiance, a rising threat to the stability of the state itself, as the war's effects reach deeper into Russia's own heartlands. This growing unrest has not gone unnoticed. Ukraine's military intelligence, the HER, appears to be stoking these flames, amplifying resentment among Russia's ethnic republics and neglected regions. One of the clearest examples lies in Yakutia, Russia's largest republic, spanning over 3 million square kilometers. Once treated merely as Moscow's resource colony, Yakutia produces billions in diamonds, gold, and gas, yet its people remain among the poorest in Russia. Environmental devastation, economic neglect, and the loss of thousands of young men in the war have turned frustration into fury. Casualties among Yakut soldiers are estimated to be 40 times higher than those from Moscow's district. For many, that has become an unbearable symbol of exploitation. In September 2025, local deputy Alexander Ivanov crossed a red line when he publicly called for Yakutia's independence during an interview in Turkey. He urged his people to stop fearing those who occupy our land, directly challenging Moscow's authority.
Ivanov's ties with pan-Ural activists in Istanbul and his vocal support for protests in the Altai Republic have made him a symbol of a growing awakening. Meanwhile, Yakut volunteers have already joined Ukraine's Siberian battalion, vowing to fight not just for Kyiv's cause, but for a free Yakutia of their own. But while Yakutia's movement remains mostly political, the situation in Ingushetia has taken a far more dangerous turn. Nestled in the volatile North Caucasus, the tiny Muslim republic has become the epicenter of a renewed insurgency. The Ingush Liberation Army, founded in 2023, now conducts regular attacks. In June 2025, its fighters used drones to strike an FSB border post, killing 2 officers. In August, coordinated arson attacks hit military depots in Dagestan. Recently, the group released footage of armed patrols, organized, disciplined, and openly defiant. Another formation, the Caucasus Liberation Movement, unites Chechens, Dagestanis, and Ingush under a single banner, calling it a war of anti-colonial resistance. The group has claimed responsibility for the assassination of a Russian lieutenant colonel from a counter-sabotage unit in a precision explosion. Their message is clear: Moscow's grip on the Caucasus is weakening, and the Kremlin's agents are no longer untouchable. Behind much of this unrest lies what many analysts now call Budanov's blueprint. General Kirill Budanov, head of Ukraine's military intelligence, is deliberately cultivating resistance among Russia's ethnic minorities, spreading the truth about. Despite making up less than 10% of Russia's population, these minorities provide nearly 40% of its contract soldiers. Budanov's operatives are reportedly in direct contact with exiled activists and underground networks, offering intelligence, logistics, and even training. The strategy is simple but devastating. Every region in turmoil means fewer Russian troops at the front. Many small fires, if fanned together, can burn an empire from within. And Russia is already feeling the heat. The Kremlin's long-standing social contract, allowing the state to do whatever it wants abroad as long as citizens are left undisturbed, is breaking apart. Since the first mobilization in 2022, when ordinary Russians were drafted by force, discontent has grown. Now, Ukrainian drone strikes on oil refineries have caused severe fuel shortages across multiple regions. Gas stations are running dry, protests are erupting, and for the first time, everyday Russians are feeling the war in their own lives. Across the Federation, cultural revival movements are mutating into revolutionary networks. What Moscow calls isolated extremism is, in reality, the early stage of fragmentation. Years of exploitation, draining regions of their resources while sending their sons to die, have planted the seeds of rebellion. Supported by Ukrainian intelligence, these movements are gaining coordination, purpose, and momentum. For generations, they've waited for a spark, and now, as Russia bleeds on multiple fronts, it may finally have arrived. If you'd like to explore more key developments we couldn't cover here, visit our interactive news map. It's free to use and updated daily with verified combat footage and frontline changes. You'll find the link in the description below. Thank you for watching today's update, and a special thanks to all of you already following our interactive platform.